So tonight, y'all are in for a treat. Great couple, Peggi and Leo Morgan. They are what we call super passives, passives who have invested in a lot of deals, and they do their research when they invest. I'm not going to take any time or anything away from their presentation, but Peggi and Leo, come up.
And I'll warn you, the hardest part is going to be taking the mic away from Leo at the end.
Peggy's got me on a leash tonight. I'm only supposed to say things that I memorized if I can remember them.
Well, and I'm going first, so I have a chance to talk. So, anyway, well, it's good to see everybody. Glad you're here. And we're just going to talk about our history of how we got into lifestyles and what our journey has been since we joined the club. So anyway, Leo and I were already retired when we joined Lifestyles, and what we were doing, we were stock option traders selling puts and calls, and that went quite well for many years. And then the Great Recession hit, and we hung out for a while, and we're still making decent money. Okay, better?
There you go.
We were still making decent money, but then we weren't. And it's like, oh my gosh, so what are we going to do? We're both retired from corporate. We did not want to go back to corporate because we'd been away for many years from corporate. So anyway, we were looking for something that would give us cash flow, would give us an equity gain, something that would be fun and a company would train us how to do it. And fortunately, Leo had been listening to Dale Walmsley for a number of years on the radio. So he said, you know what, let's go, let's do the 2-day, check this thing out. And so we did. Leo had had some experience a little bit in real estate prior to Lifestyles, so he was ready to go.
Just enough to get in real trouble.
And he did.
I like how you kept that short. Good.
Yeah, really. I'm proud of you, Leo. Oh, yeah, anyway, okay.
Leo and I are good friends, so I can make fun of him.
I wasn't quite so ready. I just wasn't real sure with all the fraud going on, and I didn't understand the real estate like Leo did at that time, and I just wasn't quite ready. Well, it was during the Christmas holidays, just after we took the 2-day, and it was kind of a miserable holiday. We both office in our house, and he'd come in my office every night. Now, when are we going to join? When are we going to join? This is a great club, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So,
rebuttal?
This right here, let me make a comment here. I gotta say something. This I've been in sales all my life, and this is one of these deals. It's gonna happen. We're gonna make a sale here, one way or the other. I had plan B, C, and D, but we're gonna go through A, and we're gonna wear her out.
So
it was answered prayer when we got through this thing.
So that shows he's a good salesman, because I was very resistant.
Because it's a scam.
Yeah, because it's a scam, right? That's why I'm here now, right? Several years later. So what I did, I remember David Fisher, who taught the 2-day, and he was talking about the Apartment Association Independent Rental Owner Awards of the Year, and he mentioned some names of some members that had won these awards. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to go on their website. I'm going to go on Lifestyle's website and see if these names are there. And they were. But I thought, that's not enough. They could put anything on their website. They're trying to sell memberships, They're kind of, well, you said that, I didn't. Okay. So anyway, what I did, I went on the National Apartment Association website to check it out, and their names were there. And I thought, oh my gosh, so I had to go back to Leo humbly and say, you're right. And I was wrong. Yeah, I know. Thanks for forgiving me.
You're forgiven. Yeah. You owe me a couple things. Anyway.
Well, we'll get to that later.
Something. I want to say one thing. And that is that for somebody that was so, shy to get into the deal and so skeptical and like debt was like, oh man, I mean, it's like negativo. And I tell you what, it was like an answered prayer because I'd been praying about it. And I thought, it's better when we have both of us together. We make a great team. And
a good comedy duo.
Well, I've been trying to get her to calm down on all her. She's learning. But anyways, you know what? She got in and she, now I'm telling you, I can't even control the woman. She's way out of her control. I mean, she's
You
like
could
an
never
animal.
control her.
I'm telling you what, I thought, hell, I was so excited in the beginning. She ruled over me. I get run over. You know, she understands it, and she loves that money.
Well, one thing he's not telling you, he knew I was an animal prior to Lifestyles. My maiden name was Wolf.
I think we're getting a little too close to the edge, guys. So back it off. Back it off.
She's a wild beast.
Let's talk some real estate for a minute.
Okay, next slide.
Leo,
But anyways,
it takes a lot to make me blush, but I am right now.
Okay. Well, so we hit the road hard, and it's kind of like they were talking about last talk that, you know, when you're hot, you need to get going. You know what I mean? And we were hot, and
I just wear shorts.
so, and we needed the money. You know, we had some cash, but we needed the cash flow, so we got going. Well, Dallas had just closed several deals, and we were brand new members. And we're like, okay, now what do we do? And that can change. I mean, markets can change. So Leo said, let's hit the road. Let's go down to Houston. Houston was bigger in those days. And so we met 3 leads in one day, and we ultimately got into all of their deals. So that got us on the road. And then the first year we got into 10 deals. In those days, it was a little harder. We didn't have our syndication software that was written by a Lifestyles member. Now, if you want to get on somebody's list, you just click a button. You know, it's a lot easier. But in those days, it was more about, which is good. It still happens today, and it's great. You know, where you greet and meet the leads, and you shake their hand, and you get their business card, which we still do today. But so we did hustle to get into the 10 deals in those days, okay?
But we looked at a lot of properties, I promise you that.
Yeah, we did. And we ended up, like, as of today, and I know there's people that have been in a lot more deals than we have. Oh, yes. So we're in 51, we've been in 51 deals, okay?
That's awesome.
Nice.
You know, and we've sold 13, so we're in about 38. We've been in almost 8,000 doors. Currently, we're in 5,200 doors because some of the properties have sold. So how did we do that? Well, I'm going to take one example that I already really brought up. Is just try to go to different markets if you have the time and you can do it, and get to know people and shake their hands and meet passives. I mean, passives know leads. Passives can give you references on leads. How did they do on the deals that passive is invested in? Did they do what they said they were going to do? And
Just for those who may be brand new to lifestyles and not
Okay.
know what a passive means. A passive means you invest with somebody who pools the money and then buys a big apartment and runs it, and you don't do anything. That's why it's called a passive investor.
yeah, and it's lots of fun and very profitable.
Get to sleep in.
You have 2 jobs to write a check and then cash a bunch of them, right?
You can do that.
And you're talking about sleeping in. Why don't you? What?
No,
She's saying you sleep in a
I'm
lot.
catching up on I sleep. She goes to sleep at night and we have the TV on. Well, you know, I can't help it. We ended up having like Aerial Wyoming and Aerial America. Those are great history stories about America. I can't just turn them on. And then another thing is when you see undisclosed secrets of the CIA, I've got to watch that. I'm telling you. And so I may go to sleep, you know, maybe 4 a.m, but you know what? It's all right.
You got a lot going on, Leo.
It is. It's important. Those are very important things.
But I might call him you bag of bones, but actually he sleeps in till 11 or 12, so half the day's gone. So,
Can you believe she does that even sometimes after she answers my phone? She goes, "Get out of bed, you bag of bones." Each time I'm like, "God, you know they're on the least you can do is not." Anyway, she's not too worried about it, so whatever.
Right, let's talk real estate.
okay, let's go back
That's a
to
little
real
bit about your
estate. All
deals.
right. So, as far as like taking advantage of networking opportunities, so you guys were in that front reception room before you came in here. That's a great spot to talk to people and chat. You know, and if you're kind of introverted, then just sit there and listen. You know, the more you listen, you start getting the buzzwords down and understanding what's going on. And then after tonight, like tonight we'll have a lead come up and they'll talk about their property and their deal. And you kind of get to know a little bit about that lead, like how they've handled challenges, how they've had victories. You know, you learn a little bit about how they think business-wise. So that's a good way to network, you know, to learn about a lead that you might want to get into their deal. And then after all of this tonight, then we're going to go to the bar and the restaurant. And that's a great opportunity where there's not as many people there and you can talk to people one-on-one.
And you learn more after a few drinks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, buy 'em a drink or two, and then you'll learn more. So.
I'll tell you what, a couple of people that are excellent at it that are new, there's Joe and Becca. Y'all need to get up, and that way y'all have somebody to follow also after them. Y'all ought to stand up and show yourself.
Nothing like putting people on the spot.
They're really more eager than that.
And for those of you who are out there in TV land, we have Zoom calls with people, and you can meet leads that way too.
That's
Yeah, exactly. And we have meetups that are virtual, Zoom calls. We have meetups that are local here in Dallas. It can be any day, it can be any time of the day, it can be at night. And most of them are for preferred members, but then there's one that meets first Friday of every month, and you don't even have to be a member. You can be a guest of a member or any level of membership. And so that's a good way to network. Also at the road trips. So at the road trips, the lead's up talking about their deal, explaining their apartment deal, and then, so you learn more about that lead, but then they have the leads all get up and introduce themselves and the aspiring leads. And what they do, they line up on these walls, that wall. And there's just like in one room, there's so many opportunities, so many potential investments that you could get into. I mean, it's just mind-boggling in one room. And so you just go and you can greet and meet them, you know, shake their hand, ask for their business card, connect with them on the podium. That's where you hit that one little button. If they're not, you know, on podium, you can send them an email. Lifestyles trains you how to do all that, you know, so that's another way. What else?
I was going to say, you know, you mentioned networking with passives, right? Mm-hmm. That's a great way, and especially these guys are passives in a lot of deals, and they're going to go to Bar Louie, so buy them a few drinks, and then you'll learn a lot. Right? I just got you some free drinks.
Thank you, Craig. We appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Leo will take one for the team.
Hey, man, that Diet Coke and grenadine is good.
Yeah.
You want to go on to your portfolio?
Yeah, let's go for it. Okay, here we go. Okay, well, I'll start since we started investing in Houston. Okay, so Houston, we've invested anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000, and we've made anywhere
Total? No, per deal. Per deal, right?
Per deal.
Per deal.
Thank you, per deal. Thanks for keeping me straight, Greg. I appreciate it. Okay, so this is incorrect. I've got down return on capital range. It's 50%. It's not 10%. So we've done anywhere from 50% to 225%.
Wait, you said you're making 50% to 225% on the money you put in there?
Absolutely.
Who does that every day in the stock market?
Yeah.
No hands.
And remember,
one hand
that
is a
is-
guy filming back there.
That is after they got their original
Right.
investment back.
Yes,
Exactly.
Yeah.
absolutely.
So for ease of numbers, if we put 100,000 in there, we got anywhere from 150 back to 325 back.
Say
Yeah.
that very slowly, because
at the max. too.
his eyes are going to be like, what did she just say? What? Say that again. Say it again.
Okay.
People don't believe it.
All right, so we got 50% to 225%. So if we invested 100,000, we got 150,000 back because you get a return on your capital, which would be all the cash flow you've gotten. It would be when you refi, and it would also be on the sale of the property, okay? We love refis because you refi and it's a non-taxable event. And so you get a chunk of your money back, but you're still in that deal, and you're still making money on that deal. So we love refis.
Peggy's going into a lot of technicalities we will cover in great detail on Saturday and Sunday. So if you're going, what did she just say?
No.
Don't worry. Come on Saturday and Sunday. We'll show you specific examples.
I told you
Okay.
that's an animal.
I learned it all from you, Leo. Okay, but that day that we earned our 325% return, we were celebrating. You know, that's a lot, okay? So we've done one national deal, and we're invested at 75%. We've gotten...
75,000.
Or 75,000, okay, and we've gotten some cash on cash. We haven't refied or sold yet. It's a pretty new property. And so we're projecting that we'll make like an 85% return on capital, okay? So that would be like $138.
That's if it's sold today.
Yeah, and
You're putting a lot of pressure on me.
I know. Did I get the figures sort of right?
got
We're
that
in
recorded.
Craig.
That's our property in Speedway.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one thing I forgot to say, in Houston, we've got unrealized, that means we haven't sold it, but we're thinking that we're going to get 275% return on capital. So that's going to be
That's
a big day to
excellent.
So
sell.
think about that. They invest $100,000 on each one of these properties, and by the time they're done, that $100,000 has grown to $375,000, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, don't you think? Give them a hand. That's an awesome return.
We could not have done it without Lifestyles. No way.
You're not driving around the country buying up apartments.
No, it wasn't going to work like that. We needed some guidance. Mentorship, that's for sure.
So, Leo, do you want to do Central Texas and Dallas?
Yes, please. Let me say
Okay.
something.
You want to trade spots?
Well, I'll tell you what, in Central Texas, we've invested in 17 apartment complexes in 17 deals, and we've invested from $25,000 to $100,000 in each one of those deals, and we've made from 50% to 100% capital gains on each one of those. Now, on we have some that are unrealized capital gains up there, but we have up to 250% on unrealized capital gains in some of the ones we got. Those are the ones that we haven't sold yet. And then we go over to Dallas, and we've got 24 apartment deals that we've invested in, and we've invested from $50,000 to $100,000 each time, and we've made between $50% and 150% on each one of those deals. And on the unrealized capital gain, we have a bunch of them, but we got some that are up to like 425% unrealized capital gain. In other words, if we put in 100,000 and you sold it today, you'd get back 525,000. And we've had that about 6 years.
$500,000, guys.
Anyway,
Incredible.
that's not chicken feed. We're glad to have that.
That is not chicken feed.
Keep looking at those, baby.
You're not just going to give it away?
I'm
That's
telling you,
it.
it is
As I said before, that's high.
high.
That's the technical term. It's a high return.
So, anyways, needless to say, it's exciting. And let me say one other thing is that since we started investing in lifestyles, some 2015, we have the amount of money we set to start out with is multiplied by 5 times, and our net worth is increased by 3 times. And so I just never in my life thought that would happen. I just
That's
was
fantastic.
blown away by that.
So you guys are blessed to be here in Texas. I'm just curious. You said 24 properties here in the DFW?
Yep.
What's the closest one to this building, roughly?
The closest
Don't
one,
say the name, just distance.
closest one to the building. Let me think about this
Irving.
now. It's right here in Irving.
Irving.
We could
Hey.
probably walk down.
How cool. He could drive by and go, I own a piece of that.
That's what exactly. Hey, you get some respect down there when you go to the police department.
Yeah. Of course, we don't like our investors to actually go on the property and talk to residents and stuff because it freaks people out, but you could drive by and go, I own a piece of that.
That's right. I own that apartment, and all you do is you own that door handle on it, but still, you take what you can get.
But that door handle is tripled in value.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And I know people are going, how the heck do you do that? You really, to understand how we do that, you got to understand the math of apartments, and it takes a little minute to teach it to you, but we'll go through that this weekend.
That's great. And so I guess the next thing we're going to talk about is, how's it changed our life? And well, one thing we can do is we can stay up at night and watch TV late and stuff. That's fun. At least I can, and I can sleep in late too, as long as So
Hey, don't rub it in.
I can't help it. I'm a late night worker. But anyways, we've got that, and also the other thing is we've gone and it's gotten us where we're out of a regular job where you don't have to drive to work, 8 in the morning, and you got some sales quota, and the managers, you're supposed to be getting threatened again for your job and all that sort of stuff. And so that is a great thing. I love that. And not having a Sunday night blues. And also it's secured our retirement money that I think we could just about make it at this point. But we need lifestyles, I promise you that. And because you can sure get off track easy, and they do it the right way. And then also, one other thing is that it's the best part of it all is that we've met all the members in Lifestyles are our new friends. I've got old friends, guys that I used to belly up to the bar to, and they all go, Leo, where you been, man? What's going on? I go, well, we're working in real estate, and it's kind of gotten exciting, and we're busy, And so anyways, they go, come on down, I said at the time, I gave up drinking. I was like, I'm tired of drinking beer and stuff. Let's get down to business here and make some money. I'm like that, too. I'm like Peggy, an animal for that. And so we started doing that, and so we love everybody in Lifestyles. They are great, everybody, and it's called the abundance mentality. And what it is everybody in here, everybody tries to help other people. We're always talking to other passive investors, other lead investors. People try to help each other. When COVID came around, man, it was the most greatest confidence in the world, but I'm not going to go into that. But it's a great community of people. And then also on our short-term.
How about find something?
Oh, yeah. And then we got a deal where and our motto is that find something that you enjoy doing and jump into it and get after it and start studying it and give it some time and be dedicated to it. And you'll find that if you learn new information, like with Lifestyles and stuff and with real estate, you can make great money doing this. This is wonderful. Our future looks bright, and I'm looking forward to it. And people, we follow this up and down. It's great. And then the other thing is...
See, I told you getting the mic away from was going to be the hardest piece.
Do you have any short-term goals?
Yeah, short-term, to keep on investing. Of course, we're going to do that. I mean, we're on the hunt always. And then the second thing is just go to all the meetings, and we enjoy going to the meetings and keeping up. Lifestyles is excellent at keeping you up to snuff on what's going on. The world of finance is always changing. We've got Ricardo's back over there. He's a finance guy. He's always in here, keeping us up to snuff on it. And we like to. That way, you're educated on what you're doing, and it's like a living creature. And so, anyways, we do that. And then,
how about your long-term goals?
Well, our long-term goals are to keep on being. Hopefully, we'll be able to keep on being mentor or ambassadors. And
what's an ambassador, Leo?
Ambassador is somebody that doesn't make any money. Because I told Terry Gilbert, I said, we are not working. That's not working.
Got too much TV ahead of you, right?
I said, and she goes, no, Leo, don't worry about that. And she goes, well, I said, what do we have to do? What's going on here? And she goes, you just keep doing what you're doing. I said, well, what are we doing? And she goes, you all just keep talking to people, and you're an ambassador. And she says, we'll give you a little name tag up here, like you said. Anyway, we do it anyway, and we love it, and we love helping other people. We help other people, and you know what? People come back and help us, and it's just a great thing. We've got some great friends in here. We love y'all, and hopefully y'all like us.
Okay. So.
Thank y'all very much, and we're honored to be here in front of y'all.
You're not
We're not going to let you get out of this too long.
We have questions.
Oh yeah, we got that.
We got some tough questions in the audience. Any questions for Peggy and Leo here in the room? Can we get a mic over here, Samuel? Or we got one on the other side later.
Hi, it's really not a question. I started in 2020. I didn't know anyone, and it's uncomfortable to walk into a room like this and not know anyone. Mm-hmm. And then there was Peggy and Leo, and they were down in the hall when I walked in, and they said, okay, meet these people, meet these people, meet these people. And I did, and so I don't know anybody else, but I know those three couples. So then I'd get on to the webinars, and if Peggy, and let me preface this, People invest for different reasons. I don't want you to think that I'm investing because they're investing. However, when I got on my first webinar, there was Peggi and Leo, and I'm like, why are they asking those questions? You know, like, how many parking spaces are there? I don't know.
By the way, that is the question they always answer.
I mean, all of these questions. And so what I found was, I'm going to listen. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to listen. My first deal that I got into, I walked in, and the front row was filled with those three couples. And I felt warm in my heart because I felt like they've made it and I have a chance, you know? And so I don't know if they're investing in that deal or not, but I did because I liked the people. They were good, honest people. And nothing's happened in my portfolio yet because I did deep value plays. So I won't see anything for 2 years, and that's really hard.
So, Kelly, first of all, thank you for sharing. Give
I'm sorry, I can go on for days, but these are people that are good.
You threw out a term that a lot of people have no clue about. She said deep value play.
For you at the end of the rainbow.
Great job.
So we will describe on Saturday what a deep value play is so you can see that. And there was a question way over here.
Yeah, this question is for Peggi because I think Leo would take a short answer and turn it into a speech maybe. I don't know. Just real quick, how many hours a week do you think y'all work?
Well, we're ambassadors, and that takes up some time. And then, of course, passive investors. I mean, it's going to vary, you know, but I'd say maybe 10 hours a week.
How many times have you gone over to these properties and picked up garbage?
None.
Zero.
We don't ever
Have you
do that.
repaired the plumbing at any of them?
No, we
No.
don't do that.
You fix the roof?
No, I'm
No.
not doing that stuff. I don't even know where some of them are.
So what kinds of things do you do?
She probably spends 10 hours counting her money.
Yeah.
Trying to keep up with those cash flows so we don't
He's
miss
like
them all.
Scrooge McDuck in the room with all the piles of gold, right? You got
I had them
it?
all going, now I end up giving it all away.
So really, we go to the investor meetings, and that's a good way to meet people. That's another way to network. And we read the reports, but we've got that down. We can kind of whip through those reports.
So you're coming to events like this and having people buy you drinks afterwards.
Yes,
and that's
thanks to
working.
you.
That's
Thanks to
working.
you. Okay.
We wouldn't miss it for the world.
Exactly.
And then also, we like to keep up with current events. I love reading the Dallas Morning News business section and also anything in the state of Texas and anything in the country because you know what? There could be some opportunity waiting out there just for us to hit the jackpot. You don't know. You know.
But you don't have to do that. I mean, Leo just does that.
I love to read.
Yeah.
It's not a requirement to read the newspaper.
I'm a reader.
There's another question over here. And then we need a mic
fellow
over this side.
retiree who also watches Aerial America. What's your favorite state?
Hey, Wyoming, without a doubt, it is gorgeous. It is they got hot springs, and I mean, you should see they got moose.
I was actually
they got
kidding, but
deer. Okay.
At least that,
they got.
But
at least that is somewhat real estate related. We'll give it that.
I was just going to say that
having.
when I first showed up, the first happy hour I went to, I sat across from Peggi and Leo, and a guy who's in the front row who somehow found a way to get an A&M colored Hawaiian shirt. There he is.
John Fry.
And yeah, it was John. And they and it was enlightening about how they look at properties and how they understand them and the questions they ask. And so I would say that, like what they're saying is, if you can meet the mentors or any of the people that have been doing it, ask questions, ask them what they look for, and ask them why they're successful, because they really, really do a good job of helping you understand it and are very open to talking to you about it. And anybody really in the room that's been doing this a while, you'll be talking numbers and people are like, wait, you go to normal conversation, what you're talking about, how much that's worth?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, why not?
People in lifestyles are very open with their
Yeah.
numbers and they're very sharing.
Just wanted to pay
Good
a
point.
compliment to them and thanks to them
you very
and
much.
several other
Appreciate
people for
that.
helping.
Carlos over
Thank
here.
you,
have a question?
Keith.
Okay. Thank you, Leo and Peggy. Love the story. My question is simple. Is there a requirement to be accredited for those passive deals?
We will cover that in the 2-day. I'll answer that if you don't mind. I'll jump
Yeah,
in. We will
absolutely.
cover that in the 2-day. And the short answer is no. But we'll talk about what the qualifications are to get in those deals. And they're generally we want to make sure that you understand what you're getting into as an investor.
I got one over here. So Leo and Peggy, thank you so much for what you've all done. You've been an inspiration to all of us here.
You guys have a fan club here.
We do. You got to love them. But I do want to say, Leo, you need to start going to bed earlier because Peggy's obviously keeping up with her beauty sleep, and you're not.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I know the secret documents of the CIA. You know.
There was a question right in here.
Yes, sir. Thank you for you guys' story. It's very inspirational. I wanted to ask for all of us diverse people here. We come in, like lady mentioned here, for different reasons and inspirations. And for those of us considering whether we should start in the single or multi or passive, what are some pros, cons, or some advice that you could give where we could start or on that line? Like, should we jump in, and why or why not?
I'll tell you, con is don't sit around and do nothing. Get in there and start learning what, after, look at some of this stuff. Get in there and start learning stuff and then make a move on it and don't sit around, wait. And you have to get involved. When you put your money into something, you start getting involved. At least I do. And also, you come out of these meetings and stuff, and you see those folks up there with a single family. I'm like, man, I'm about ready to throw the microphone down and say, let's start doing that. That is kicking butt and taking names. And so it's just get going on it. Do something. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Go ahead and sign up, and then start looking at the whole program. Then make a decision on one of the, because then you'll be glad you're making money. I'm telling you, it's a great thing.
I think that's great advice. Get started. But in the 2-day when you come, we'll talk about how we do single family and all the ins and outs of it. We'll talk about how we do multifamily and all the ins and outs of it. And the real answer will depend on you and your specific situation, and we could talk about it at the 2-day.
And don't think that you won't get help, because you can get help. You ask. Anything's better than losing money. I can tell you, it sucks.
But in the back, online.
Yeah, a couple of online. How many years did it take after your initial investment to get the return? And then the other question is, how do you feel about investing in the current real estate market?
Did you hear those
current
two?
real estate market, interest rates have come up. Things have changed. We're keeping up with lifestyles on our case studies. They always have vendors up here. We have financing vendors with Ricardo, who's back here, and they have insurance and construction and all that. Everybody's keeping up with everything. And then what happens is, I'll tell you what, right now we're looking at a lot of opportunity coming up here. And we're sitting there with they sell a deal. We keep collecting our money and building up our gunpowder to get ready to go, because when it happens, it's going to happen. There's going to be people in some jams coming up, and we are here waiting to pick up those. That's the reason why we're here, because we're in with a great network of real estate brokers in Dallas. 4 or 5 of them do 80% of the deals. Man, they're tight on lifestyles. They love us. That way they collect their commissions. And what was the other question?
Well, let me add to that. In lifestyles, we know how to make money in the up market and the down market.
Exactly.
And we'll explain how and why we do that. Probably the riskiest time to actually invest was like last year, before the interest rates started coming up. Now that we know where the interest rates are, we can really gauge that before you buy. And there's a bunch of people, mostly outside of lifestyles, that are going to get into trouble because they bought the wrong way. And there's going to be a whole bunch of deals that are going to be coming into foreclosure, which is going to be great news, because we made it.
Sitting there like vultures.
We made a ton of money. Yeah, we made a ton of money in 2008, 9, 10, right? When the market has some hiccups, that's when you make a lot of money. What was the other question there, Carl?
You said
how long was it, right? Was that the question?
Yeah, how many years did it take to get a return on your initial investment?
So actually, we received our first distribution check 6 months after we got in. And really, if you're in what they call a yield play, it's not a big fixer-upper, then chances are you're going to get a distribution check sooner than you would if you get into a property that needs a bunch of repair, like a value play. Then that's going to take a little bit longer. Okay, so hopefully that answers the question.
In short. Steve.
Thanks. So, I agree with you, and I know it may be difficult for many that we really think in terms of abundance, and that how can everyone do this? There has to be something that's subtracted, and I would agree it's not that way. But I'm curious, when you were at the point where you didn't have your jobs, and you say you had some cash, I mean, how did you make that decision that we're going to put this into a deal, and then we got a little we can put into this deal? When did it click, and why did it click that you say we're going to put all our eggs in the basket.
Well, let me tell you, what we did is we got in here and we were listening to the 2-day, and what happened is, it just came into mind. I thought, you know what, these guys are in with the good brokers, and they're in with the good old boys. And what happened is, and I had checked it out to make sure they aren't just shooting BS at me, and I found it out because I know some of them from many, many, many years ago that I had read about in the newspapers. And I talked to him. They said, man, we bring deals up here where lifestyles that other people won't buy. And he says, they closed the deal. These people know what they're doing up here. It's a good ethical organization. They do it right. And anyways, and so we love them, and I thought, you know what, that just made me jump with joy. So that's one thing. But the second thing is, like, we went down to Houston, and you're in there, and like, we came across this deal. Well, you're looking at apartments, and like, we're in Dallas, we're looking at the internet, and you're looking at this apartment, and you're looking at all these other apartments around there, and so this one has 65 cents a square foot rent, and it's a nice property, same vintage as everything else around there, and everybody else is like 95 to $100.05, and I'm like, Peggy, I said, bingo, man, we hit the jackpot. This one right here is where we're going to jump. We jumped on that one from the get-go. And we went down and checked them to make sure that the rents weren't just bogus. We went in there and secretly shopped like we were going to rent. And they were, and they knew, and it was for real. And I thought, well, that gave me confidence for all the other times we go. And sometimes we get on Google Earth and go down and drive around cities looking around. And so that's how we do it. We find out undervalued properties and jump on it and get after it, and it really makes life better.
On Sunday, I will show you pictures of the first property that we bought in Indianapolis and show you how we did the math, so you can see before you buy it the profit potential in it.
And let me say one other thing. Let me just finish this.
And by the way, we are getting long on time, so we need to.
One of the things also came through my mind is I thought, gee whiz, we got like 60 or 70 lead investors when we joined. Now you got like 220, and you got the podium. Gee, y'all are on gravy train.
400.
And so compared to what
more
we
than
were
400,
doing.
yeah.
And so we got in, and I told Peggy, I said, we're going to go in there and meet everybody we can. Every one of these leads, we're going to get them. We're going to get on their list, and we're going to get them to start sending deals to us. Well, that summer, we started getting deals coming across our desk, right and left. And I mean, I was tired of looking at spreadsheets and analyzing them. And finally, we came across deals that we picked out, and that's how we got started with those 3, 4, 5 deals. But it took time doing it, and I thought, you know what? It's great. That's what we're doing. We're shopping deals. It's low risk, high return, and boy, they really paid off too. That's what we do, and we still do it that way.
Can I just say something real briefly?
Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we always vet the leads, okay? So if of leads, like it's their second deal, third deal, then we'll find some passives that we can get a reference on that lead. Did they do what they said they were going to do? Was there a good reason why they couldn't? And then you can check with the mentor to make sure that that lead is consulting with the mentor. The mentor's consulting the passive, and that they're calling them regularly. And then we have what we call operations consultants. They're the ones that help the leads after they get to the deal with the operations of the property.
These people have worked for big companies, and they're professionals.
And so we check with them too. So
Yep.
gives you a little.
We have a giant Peggy and Leo fan club here, but we do have to cut them off. You're going to be at the bar Louise, right?
Right.
And they're open to you buying them drinks and talking to them.
Coke and Grenadine.
You guys, thank you so much for sharing.